Let me clear something up. I said the dollar is a lie, but you still need it to survive. So no, I'm not saying you should abandon it or that crypto is the only solution. I mean, we still live in a traditional world. So let's talk about how to play smart in both worlds. Make no mistake, you need dollars to live. You gotta pay rent, gotta pay food, gotta pay out bills. It's all priced in US dollars. At this current moment, you can't walk into Best Buy or your local business and pay in Bitcoin. Not yet. And I'm not gonna pay in Bitcoin anyway. Maybe I'm not paying in Bitcoin. But so I'm not here to sell you on leaving the system. I'm saying, how can we understand it better and position ourselves smart? You see, most Americans don't feel the need for crypto because the dollar still works for them. And globally, the dollar is still dominant. I mean, it's used in trade, it's trusted, but it's not backed by gold. It's backed by demand. And that's why you have other countries that may be moving away from it. And that's where it gets real. You see, the dollar's value doesn't come from what it is. It comes from how much people want it. That's basic supply and demand. That's economics. And that's why we need to understand where the trend is shifting. Understand that the economy is changing. Inflation is real. Even if the US dollar is still strong globally, it's losing value locally. So what's the point of all of this? You don't need to depend fully on crypto, but ignoring it completely, that's where you might just lose out. Especially if you live in a country where your currency is unstable. Like, finding alternate ways to store value becomes survival. And so that's why stablecoins like USDC exist. Not because they're better in dollars, but because they give people access to dollars digitally, globally, and faster. And yes, even Bitcoin helps reinforce the dollar's position. It's necessary to have it because it creates global trust in digital value. I want to give you some scenarios. I want to give you 3 real world examples of how stablecoins like USDC are already being used. One in the US as a freelancer, one in the US as a business, and one internationally where inflation is destroying the local economy. Example 1, you're a US freelancer who does remote work, like you're a web developer. Let's say you're a web developer in Dallas and your client is in the UK and they want to pay you $2,000 for a project. Now, traditionally, you have to wait 3 to 5 days for a wire or get hit with like PayPal's 3% fee. That's $60 gone. And I don't know about you, but I like all my money. You know, so like if they send you USDC over a blockchain like Base or Solana, you get your full 2,000 instantly with a network fee that might cost less than $1. And you can convert it to cash or you can hold it, but it's still dollars. It's just smarter dollars. Let's look at example 2. Let's say you're a business with global vendors. Let's say you run an e-commerce store in Miami. You source your product packaging from a supplier in Vietnam. You have to pay that vendor $10,000 this week and fast. Now, if you go through your bank, you're paying wire fees, waiting for international clearing, and possibly getting hit with currency conversion costs. With USDC, you can send that payment directly, 24/7, no weekends, no banks, no middlemen. Your vendor receives the full amount in a dollar equivalent that they can instantly use or convert. It's faster, it's cheaper, puts control in your hands instead of the bank, as it should be. Now let's look at example 3. Let's take Argentina, a country where inflation is part of everyday life. As of May 2025, this year, inflation was still at 43.5%, but that's actually down from 47.3 the month before. Let me put it into perspective because I want you to really understand. From 1944 to 2025, Argentina's average inflation rate has been around 189%. You thought it was bad in the US. In 1990, it hit a record over 20,000%. That's not a typo, y'all. 20,262%. That's a broken system. So what do people do when their money loses value that fast? They turn to stablecoins like USDC to protect their income, to store their value, to survive. Now, in that type of environment, holding that local currency is the real risk. Now let's get back to the example of the local Argentina shop owner. They earn their money in pesos, but by next month, the prices of goods have doubled. So what are they doing? They're converting their pesos to USDC using apps like Binance or peer-to-peer platforms. That way they can protect their money from devaluation and still access the global economy. Now in places like this, stablecoins are not a trend. That's a lifeline. I'm not saying stablecoins replace the dollar, but in the right context, they give you more control, faster access, and protection. Whether you're a freelancer, a business owner, or someone just trying to hold on to your value in a failing economy. So this is the $1 million question, guys. What do you do with all this information? Look around you. You're still spending money in the traditional world, traditional people with traditional mindset. That's not bad. It's just where we are. But if you're one step ahead, if you understand both worlds, you can move different. You can function in both worlds. And listen, big shout out to everybody out there that's learning the game from different angles. Whether you're into crypto, real estate, or even options trading in the stock market, it's all part of the same mindset. Don't wait to be told. Learn for yourself. There's no one size fits all. But there's also no excuse to stay blind to what's happening. You're either reacting late or you're positioning early. We need to be able to spot opportunities sooner so that we're not just surviving the shifts, but capitalizing on them. This is my call to action to you. Again, you don't have to be a crypto expert. You don't have to be an economic expert, which I am none, but you should be curious because one day, understanding how value works might be what protects yours and ours. It's your boy. Hey, listen, again, I hope I piqued your interest. I hope there was something that stood out. Comment below. Let me know what stood out to you. Share this with someone who needs to hear this. It's your boy. Catch y'all on the next one.